Red, go.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being here for the next session of our Shiawassee County e-commerce group. Some of you have been with us from the start. Some of you, this is your first meeting. I want to introduce myself. I'm Justin Horvath of the Shiawassee Economic Development Partnership. We are one of the organizers of this group with the Shiawassee Regional Chamber of Commerce. Some of you met John Adams coming in to the building tonight, and then Cheryl Peterson, many of you know Cheryl, with our Small Business Development Center. This group was actually formed prior to COVID because we knew there was a lot of opportunity for growth in this sector from existing businesses in our county, startup businesses, some businesses we've attracted to the area. As you might imagine, with COVID, e-commerce, online shopping has become that much bigger. So we're very excited to be able to grow this group. A lot of new faces here tonight, so we thank you all for making time. And one thing I do want to do, and we'll do this in a minute, is have everyone introduce themselves, say who you are and what your business is, because obviously you're here tonight to learn from Kendra Lee and her business, but we also want you to network and learn from each other as well. So we also welcome additional topics going forward, or if there are speakers or items that you'd like to see covered, please definitely let us know as an outcome of it. So before we introduce everybody and before we introduce our speaker, I'd like to invite Glenn Merkel from Davis Cartage up. Glenn is actually a sponsor of this event. He sponsored our last event. Many of you probably know Davis, but you may not know what they're doing for e-commerce businesses. So, Glenn?
Glenn Merkel with Davis Cartage Company. We're an 80-year-old trucking and warehouse company. Why are we in e-commerce? Things change and evolve. We do a lot of e-commerce. We do e-commerce. You know, we support e-commerce businesses. If you're a small startup, you outgrow your garage, or whatever, and you need stuff warehouse, truck, we can handle all the logistics support for you. That's what we do, and we've actually had quite a success with, like Josh's Frogs people. We took them, and now they're able to buy in truckload quantities or container load quantities, and it's been very successful.
Someone's here from Josh's team tonight too. Thanks for coming. Credit to Josh. Josh was actually the person that generated this group. It was his idea to start this, so I give him a lot of credit for that amazing story. So go ahead, Glenn.
That's pretty much it. If you get into it, we do all of our ordering online with all of our customers, our inventories and that. And like I said, you get at the board for your company to, get up with the times or go out of business.
Thanks, Glenn. And if anyone wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do it?
Call or email.
Okay.
Number 99-743-4445. Call me or G. Merkel at daviscartage.com.
Okay, G. Merkel at daviscartage.com. Great. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you for sponsoring this event. And certainly contact him for any of your logistics needs. So before we turn it over to Kendra Lee, as I said, I think it'd be good to have everyone introduce themselves. Who are you and what's your business? Because once again, maybe there's some opportunity for collaboration here tonight. So we're going to start right here.
My name's Lily. I'm with the Children's Center, and I'm not sure but I was just going to find my boss to get some insight. We're working on improving our social media presence and everything. So
yeah. Yeah, I wonder if we could do a speaker too, or a microphone. Oh, here we go. Let's yeah, maybe that'll work. Yes.
I just said my name's Lily. I'm from Children's Center. We're not necessarily e-commerce, but we're just trying to improve our social media presence and everything. So I was just sent to getting some information and insight.
Childcare is a huge need right now for those, we've talked about that, so thank you for what you do.
I sell paparazzi, my businesses, $5 and stuff.
My name is Molly. Made the dessert.
Thank you, Molly.
Yeah.
And please take some desserts over there.
The cookies and lemon bars.
I'm Colleen Screens of the market gardener.
Hi, my name is Helen. I'm with the Shiawassee Hunger Network. I'm the coordinator. I'm here looking to just do some more public education as to what the Hunger Network is and the services we provide to the community.
I'm Kim Renwick with the Shiawassee Community Foundation. And we wanted to find out a little bit more about Tock for our YAP students and also for research.
Oh, very good.
Rich Doherty, business idealism group, and Rivers Fan.
I'm one. I don't have my business started yet. There's something with those. So there's one.
Nice.
My name's Kylie Kingsbury. This is Jordan Kaczynski. We have a women's clothing boutique called Blue Ash. So I don't know if you've heard about it or not. If not, check us out on blueash.com. We're here. We want to really grow our presence and hopefully in the future have a brick and mortar here in County. So yeah, that's us.
Hello, I'm Ben Pinkoski. I work with Josh Straws. I'm looking to learn more about TikTok.
My name is Lindsay. I'm also with Joshua Strauss. Actually emailed some Vegas Carter people just today, so you guys are awesome. Yeah, just trying to keep up with the social media. It's going faster than I can keep up.
I'm Riley. I'm the social media marketing specialist at Joshua Strauss, and I'm just looking to learn more about social media.
I'm Crystal. I actually am from Village Care Pharmacy, and we're just kind of trying to see ideas on how to get our business out there more.
Casey Voss, I'm a career specialist. I own the City Suites and working on creating my own brand, so everyone needs to have.
Becky Brooks, I got two hats of Bowsing Center for Performing Arts, always interested in how we can spread the word about that. And I am also an Amazon seller, have Level Up Generation is my brand store, so I'm looking at driving traffic.
I'm Annie Lighton, and I'm with Success Group Mortgage and Servicing. A lot of our business transactions are online. I meet my clients a lot of times and looking to grow my social media.
Good evening, I'm Sue Osika, I'm Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Wausau, and I'm also involved with the DDA Downtown Development Authority, so I want to be here to help my downtown businesses.
You also work in an e-commerce business too.
I'm Emily. I'm from the Shiawassee Family YMCA.
My name is Jen Littner, and I'm also from the Y.
My name is Leslie Bruckman, and I own Sweeties, a little bakery here in town, and I am just looking to grow my social media presence and maybe start online sales.
Very good. What a nice, hey, you can just give her the mic. What a nice turnout tonight. What a nice mix of businesses. So thank you all for making time. And as I said, this is a group. We want to be able to grow this group. And so we welcome any topics and presentations that you'd like to have in future events. But tonight, very excited to have Kendra Lee with us, Kendra Matthew, but she's Kendra Lee. You know it's Kendra Lee, right? Amazing, amazing young entrepreneur who's doing some incredible things, who I think probably has more reach in terms of her connections on social media than anybody in Shiawassee County, based on the number of followers you have. So doing some awesome things with TikTok, other stuff. I've had several conversations with her, a true visionary, has some great ideas, not just for your business, but for our community as well. for Owasso as a whole. So I'm really thankful that she's here tonight to be able to share with all of you what she does and her thoughts on TikTok and social media. So,
Appreciate that. Very nice. I'm Kendra. You can call me Kendra Matthews, Kendra Lee. Honestly, a lot of people kind of think my last name is Lee now because of my business, which is Makeup by Kendra Lee. I'm gonna beep. Yep. See, I do the TikTok and I do the social media. I do not do the technology very well. But yeah, so I own Makeup by Kendra Lee, and I've owned that for 5 years, and I specialize mostly in bridal. But I have recently added on my spa room where I offer facials and things like that. However, I do have quite a bit of experience in like different industries. My family owns Val's Pizza, so I've been working for them since I was 10, something like that. There's always a job when you're in a family business. It's either sweep the floor, take an order, something. So I worked there, and then I also worked at a clothing boutique for a couple of years where I was kind of like the manager, I guess you would say, turned into that position. But something I found while I was doing that is I loved social media. And I've always been into social media. I would say mostly I started with YouTube just because I was home a lot and I wanted to learn more. So I ended up getting really into YouTube. But as things have gone further and things like Vine, if you guys remember Vine, it's similar to TikTok that came and went. What I found I liked and what I found worked well for actually driving sales and getting good engagement kind of changed. So the top 3 things that I have found that work really well for my business, but also things that I have helped like my friends who own businesses and just like in general are Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. So that's the 3 we're going to be focusing on mostly today are Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I will say if anybody does have any questions while we're going through any of this, feel free to raise your hand. We will have an open discussion at the end where you guys can ask questions, but if there's anything that you're like, I'm going to totally forget this, feel free to raise your hand because I know I always forget stuff during these things. All right, so today we are going to be discussing a couple of different topics when it comes to social media, because social media as a whole is quite overwhelming. I think we could all agree on that. It's quite overwhelming, just looking at it at face value. So I kind of broke it down into 4 different things that I'd like to chat about. The first being the importance of social media for your business. We're going to go into depth on that. And the second being which platforms are right for you, because just because every single platform is available doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the best engagement off of that platform based off of your specific business or what you're trying to do. And then just some tips on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok that I've found work well in terms of like engagement, driving sales, and things like that. And then finally, just getting the most out of social media, wringing it dry, doing whatever you can to get the most of it. So first, we're going to talk about the importance of social media for your business. So I would say, honestly, if you are not doing any sort of social media, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, which I think you all can understand if you're not, because you're here. So I'm assuming you probably want to know something about social media. But why does it matter that we have social media? Like, who cares? Let's say I am a soap company, let's say. Why does it matter if I have a TikTok? Well, the reason is a couple of different things. One, social media can help you raise brand awareness, for sure, because if you don't have a way for people to find you, they're not going to know who you are. So it's super important to have different platforms for yourself that you find, we'll talk about later, work well, but the more platforms you can be on that work well for you, the more people that are going to see you, so the more people that are going to know about you, which leads us into the next point, which is you will boost traffic for your website and also sales if that's what your main goal is to do. There's a lot of ways to integrate like call to actions, but also just like linking when it comes to social media for sales. So we'll talk more about that. And then also just customer interaction. People like to be able to easily talk to a brand. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but whenever, let's say, something happens within a brand, like TikTok is down, TikTok is not working, you'll notice a huge influx of people coming onto Facebook or Instagram posting, TikTok is down, TikTok's not working, what do I do? And people are trying to get a hold of TikTok as a brand on Facebook. So TikTok even has their own Facebook page. So it's super important to have that good customer interaction where people feel that they can talk to you. And it just seems more personal. And the more people get comfortable with you, the more likely they are to use you for a service or to use you for sales because they're thinking of you when they think of those things. So,
Can I ask you a question on that?
absolutely.
How do you manage your time? You know, if you get a lot of responses, how do you organize that?
So having free automated responses is super helpful. So it kind of helps people feel like you're still talking to them, but you're not spending like all day just answering emails or answering everything when you're like, I gotta go make a pizza. Like, I can't do this right now. So I have found that automated responses are super helpful, and that's something that Facebook has as well as Instagram. TikTok does not have that right now, but I would imagine that's something that they're going to work towards in the future. But having that, but also if you're noticing that you're having such a high influx of things, like for example, myself doing TikTok, I am currently at, a little refresh here, 5,666.9 thousand followers. So I actually don't advertise for myself or my business on my TikTok. I do it in a different way where what I do is I tell story times about things that have happened to me at weddings. People think they're either funny or crazy or what is going on. And all I do is I link my website on my TikTok. I am fully booked for the rest of this year, and I am fully booked minus 2 dates for next year. Because of that, I've never had to say, hey guys, if you want your makeup done, like come visit my website, you know what I mean? And I am getting, I'd say probably about 40 to 50 emails a day coming in, and just having that automation really, really helps, because that's also something you can set up in your emails if you have like Gmail or something like that to have pre-automated responses where you just look at the email, you click it, it saves you so much time. Yes.
So about 6,000 followers,
5,666.
Okay, so where are they all generating? Are they majority in Michigan, or are you kind of across the board? Where are they all reaching out to you to schedule appointments?
Right now, as far as scheduling appointments, I have opened it up to the United States. So I do have some weddings coming up next year that'll be in like Florida. I've got some in Texas and things like that, which I have never done an out-of-state wedding, so that's pretty exciting. But overall, though, I would say everywhere. So if, let's say for your guys' business, if you're thinking like clothing sales, if you wanted to even open it up internationally, I mean, I've got, for me, at that amount of followers here, I can actually look and tell you, I have a decent amount that are not even just US. Like for me, I have 72% of my followers are in the US, 7% are in the UK, 4% are in Canada, and 3% are in Australia. However, I recently did a collaboration merch line with a local company that we're still doing, but when I announced it, we had people from Saudi Arabia on there. We had people from everywhere on there. So the reach is honestly kind of endless. So I would say for something like a product, if you are wanting to open it up to worldwide, the potential is there. And then as far as servicing, I mean, if you are somebody that wants to travel, the option is there, but you can kind of limit yourself if you wanted to, I guess. Hope that helps. Absolutely. Yes.
So her question, I think it goes with it. If you're looking to get more viewers, does it matter where they are? I mean, if you're only selling locally, but you're getting people viewing internationally, will it help boost your local viewing audience?
So I feel that it will. However, there are ways that I'm going to talk about a little bit that you can kind of help make it so that it stays a little bit more local using like hashtags and things like that, just to kind of help that. But I would say having a big following is never a bad thing. Having a lot of eyes on your stuff is never a bad thing, just because let's say somebody from Canada is viewing your things, but hey, you know what? I actually have this aunt that lives in Owasso, and you know, she loves soap. And this is the soap company that I found on TikTok, and it's got 30,000 followers. I'm gonna send this to her because maybe she'll love this soap. So it's never a bad thing. You can have too many eyes on your business, I don't think is ever really a bad thing. So now we're gonna break it down into which social media platforms are right for you. So first we're gonna be talking about Facebook. So Facebook is one that I feel like everybody should have, solely for the purpose that it kind of acts like a secondary website in a way. People are able to leave reviews. If you're a restaurant, you can have your menu on there. You can also have messaging through there. So if you don't want to set up an email address, which I probably would recommend that anyway, but if you want to, they do have this feature called Business Suite, which is for businesses that you can kind of operate in that way. It allows you to schedule events or schedule appointments through that messaging, and you can receive payments through that and everything. So it's honestly kind of just your secondary website is how I think of it, but also giving yourself the opportunity to post those day-to-day updates or any like promotions that you want to have. You do like the ads, which I'm sure you've all seen those on Facebook, the Facebook ads. Instagram is best for those who are offering like a visible service, whether that's like painting or you do makeup or anything like that, or a product, but your customer age range is going to be that for those between 25 and 35. That is usually the most active on that group. And the reason why it's best for those types of businesses is because Instagram is mostly for sharing images. They do have a feature similar to TikTok, and it's called their Reels, which a lot of people will double up on those, and when they post to TikTok, they just post it on Instagram Reels. Also, you're kind of killing two birds with one stone in that way. But it allows for brands to really show off their products in like an aesthetically pleasing way. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the people that post just about food, you know what I mean? And it's like, look at this delicious smoothie bowl that I got from this amazing smoothie company. And you're like, yeah, that is the best smoothie bowl I've ever seen in my entire life. I must eat that. When if you would have just seen it like kind of not post so well and lit so well with this beautiful filter, you'd probably just be like, why do I care that you're eating a smoothie bowl? You know what I mean? So it's a great way to kind of hit that mark of people who like visually pleasing things. But it also, Instagram has this feature called Instagram Stories, where it's similar to Snapchat. Personally, I don't love Snapchat for a business use. Some companies will use it. I just find that why not just use Instagram stories? To me, I find. But that kind of allows you to post multiple things throughout the day without getting overwhelming. 'Cause a lot of the times, if you're like a new, fresh business or you just got this huge wave of inspiration, you can be like, wow, I want to be posting stuff all the time. I want people to know about me for everything that I do. And so you'll start posting these things back to back to back to back. And it gets really overwhelming for the people that are viewing it. Whereas Instagram stories, you can kind of do that and it doesn't get overwhelming because it's not flooding the feed. It's a totally different feature. People just click on the little bubble and they can fast forward through whatever they want to fast forward through. If they want to watch it, they can watch it. If they don't, they're like, bye. But it's a great way to, one, post a lot of things, but it's also a great way to kind of personalize your brand and like humanize it in a way. So for myself, when I was first starting and I was really trying to grow like an Instagram following, that was really important to me. On my business page, I would kind of do like a throughout the day type of thing on my Instagram stories where I would show like, oop, I just set up at a wedding. Oh, here's the first bridesmaid, click to see her after, and people would click and oh, there's the after, and oh, who's next? And it's a quick, easy way to get a lot of eyes on your content without boring people, honestly, because it's super quick and they can just skip right through it. Any questions on that?
How many followers do you have on Instagram?
Right now, I have about 4,000 on my personal and about like 2,000 on my business. But that's because I haven't really been pushing it very much. But I will say, I have recently started talking about my Instagram on my TikTok, which is another great thing. You can kind of talk about your different platforms on different platforms. And with that, like just mentioning or tagging my Instagram on my TikTok, I gained like 2,000 followers in like an hour. So it's a good way once you have kind of a bigger following on one to easily merge people that way. Like, lead your followers onto that.
Is there a program that does it automatically? It'll post all at the same time?
So that is something that I'll get up to. Not so much with TikTok, but with Instagram and Facebook being that they're owned by the same people, it does give you that easier access to do that, where it's like one click of a button and you're done. But I will touch on that in a little bit. And then TikTok. So this is again best for a service or a product company looking for a customer between the ages of 16 and 40. That's what I do like about TikTok, is it does have this nice age range. But just because it's, I would say, best for those things as far as leading website views and sales, I have seen a lot of things that are like, oh, I'm a foot doctor. There's a foot doctor that follows me and she's verified on TikTok. Why does a foot doctor follow me? Does she know about my broken toe? I don't know. But she has gained a large following and she's just a doctor. So there's a lot of different things that you can go into, but I'm focusing mostly on if you are a product or a service company. But TikTok allows for very quick, they can be as short as 15 seconds videos that are usually more in a humorous way, not so much a let's sit here and talk kind of way. They're usually kind of funny. I would say quite similar to Vine, if you guys ever had that. But what I really like about TikTok is the way that their algorithm is, depending on if you are kind of chosen and the way that you have hashtagged and all that things, you can reach a large amount of people super fast. So for example, my first ever viral video was actually about my dad. So apparently people like my dad more than me, but that's fine. But we were talking about his pizza, which was the A-bomb, which it's this absurd pizza that's got like fried food on it and like nacho cheese, and it's just crazy. And all I did was I filmed him making it, did a little voiceover, added captions, posted it, and put my phone down, thinking nothing of it. Come back in 10 minutes, look at my phone, it's got 30,000 views. And it did not slow down. I would refresh, there's another 1,000, refresh, oh, now that's 5,000, oh, refresh, oh, there's another 10,000. So it really just depends. But it does have that opportunity to just really push your videos quickly because the videos are so short. And because people are just given that scrollability, like with Facebook and Instagram, where you can just scroll past. So they're usually consuming content quite quickly, which if any of you have TikTok, you might feel that way, where you're just like, why am I up at 5 in the morning? Because I've been scrolling on TikTok all day. Whoops. But one good thing also that TikTok has recently done is they have launched this 3-minute feature, which I have taken for myself, because like I said, I tell story times about things. But what I would do before is I would have to film part 1, part 2, part 3, and it was kind of a good thing in a way, but some people would get really annoyed by that, like, why'd you do that? Why'd you put a cliffhanger like that? I just want to know the story. So it's nice in that way, but it's also really great if you want to show off like a service that you do, or if you want to show off like a how it's made type of thing, you have that 3 minutes available to you. And TikTok has, like people are, there's just so many niches to TikTok. There's some TikToks that they talk just in a documentary style now that this 3-minute feature is out. Whereas I don't do that, and my followers don't do that. But it's great for the people that want that, though. That option is there for you to do those longer, like documentary style videos, which is great. But the biggest thing I have found is that TikTok just loves stories. They love to hear about your stories. One of my friends on TikTok, she's got about 2 million followers. She recently did a story about her dad's charity, which is called Wake the World, where he goes and he helps kids that are in foster care, veterans, just a bunch of different people who would not get this opportunity to go wakeboarding, because apparently he's like the super good wakeboarder. So she was just telling his story and then was like, hey, he's never going to ask for a donation, but if you want to give a donation, it would mean a lot. And they raised, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe it was like $20,000 in the course of 24 hours. So people love stories, which is the reason that I've gone as big as I have, because people are like, what, stories? People love stories. So even if it's not my style of the story, if you're just like, hey, I make soap and look how I make this soap, and this is why it's super important to me that the ingredients are really good because of this and this and this and this. And people just like to learn and they love stories, especially on this app I have found. So now getting more down into each, yes, sorry. Yes,
I have read somewhere where that TikTok, they're really pushing how to, a lot of the app for finding out how to.
I would say that that's correct. There's a lot of like demonstration videos on TikTok I found, whether it's like how to, one of the biggest things actually on TikTok is cleaning videos. People love cleaning videos, and they will watch these, it's just like, here, watch me clean this lid. And you would think like, okay, cool, but then you look at the views and it's got like 6 million views and you're like, what? But it's because people want to learn how to better themselves and how to do things. I would say that's correct. I feel like they're kind of hitting this mark that YouTube used to hit in that way, where you would be like, I don't know, YouTube it. Or nowadays I feel like I hear, you know what, I saw on TikTok how to do this hack where you like throw your hair up in a sock bun and you pull it down the next day and you have curls. You know what I mean? And people try it. And that's, I don't know, I found that. So I would agree that that seems to be the case where how-tos are becoming quite popular. All right, so talking about Facebook. So Facebook's algorithm likes to push your posts out more if you have a higher engagement rate, which is people liking and commenting. So different algorithms do different things. And with Facebook, they don't seem to have as much of a caring if people are actually necessarily talking back and forth with you, where you as the business are underneath commenting, responding, interacting in that way. They tend to care more about, well, how many likes can we get on this? How many comments? Not so much if you are interacting, like I said, as the brand. So with things like Facebook posts, trying to get more engagement, it's really just trying to get people to comment more. And I have a little example of that. So if you have it on your phone, but I have just a Tumblr. And a basic caption, which wouldn't really get that much engagement, would just be like, black and gold cheetah print Tumblr, visit our site to see more. People don't care, honestly. They're just gonna be like, okay, cool. Unless that's really, really eye-catching for them, and they're like, that is the coolest Tumblr I've ever seen in my entire life. They're gonna click it, but otherwise they're just gonna be like, meh. But also, Facebook's kind of gonna be like, meh. And they don't really push those types of things out because they're seeing that you're not trying to have an engaging post. Whereas an engaging caption on your post would be like, what's your favorite drink? I'm basic and I'm sticking to ice water, and then having like cute little emojis to go with it. And shop my Tumblrs here. So what you've done is you've started a conversation. And the nice thing is, once one person comments, it's just gonna keep going. So like, oh, I like tea, I like pop, I like whatever, you know, and it'll just kind of keep going. So you'll notice, I'm sure you have on Facebook, those types of things that go around that's just like, what fall character are you? And you're like commenting under, but you notice that those are still around, and they're like, most of the time you're seeing them every day, even if you don't necessarily even interact with those things. It's because those are the types of posts that are getting the most engagement. So Facebook takes that as, hey, people really like these, and they push them out more. So once you can kind of convince Facebook that you can have these engaging like posts, they will continue to post your posts out more to more people. My advice is to post at least once a day. Some people will go weeks. Not gonna lie, I'm not the best at posting once a day. But when I did, I noticed my engagement was through the roof. My messages were coming in like crazy. My website traffic was up like crazy. So posting once a day, because you just want to stay relevant, honestly. With how much there is on Facebook and on social media, it's super easy to get lost in the flood. So just kind of making sure you ping yourself up there every day, like, hey, I'm still here, I'm still relevant, is super important. But yeah, so like I said, my biggest tip to invoke more engagement is just try to have a caption that kind of starts a conversation. Even if it's as simple as like posting 2 shirts next to each other if you're a clothing company and being like, hey, which one of these would you wear this weekend? Because then you're getting people that are like, you know what, I would wear this, and you know what, that's actually super cute. Maybe I want to buy that. How much is this shirt? And then it just leads to more things in that way. Any questions on that?
Can you post too much?
You can, I feel you can. Because to me, if somebody's posting like every 30 minutes and it's just post after post after post, Facebook will kind of also see that as spam. So they're gonna be like, whoa, buddy, you need to slow down. And they'll kind of show your posts less and less to people, at least for that day, because they're like, ooh, you're really posting a lot right now. So I find posting at least once a day, but I would say no more than like 4 times a day. Just because when you post too much, people get bored of it. They're like, man, I've already seen you like 5 times on here today. I don't want to see anything else. That's why when you do have like a bigger following, let's say on Facebook, you'll notice that a lot of people that want to share more are making these private pages or these private groups. So like, I'm assuming you guys have your little VIP group, and in that is totally cool to be posting all the time because those are the people that want to see that stuff. But when you're trying to reach people that aren't already people that follow you or already people that like your stuff, if you're posting too much, they're gonna get bored of it and they're just gonna scroll right by, I find. So this one is kind of to go along with what you were saying earlier as far as like finding the time on how to do everything. This one's on Facebook and an Instagram tip, but saving time, having scheduled posts is super, super helpful because when you're in the middle of the busiest day ever, and you're like, oh my gosh, Kendra says I have to post once a day and I don't even think I can do that. Am I gonna fail in this business? Having this scheduling works amazing. So there's an app that's called Planoly, and with that, you're actually able to schedule out up to a month of these pre-made posts. And with that, you can have your captions already pre-made. You can have, if you wanted to send to Facebook or Instagram, you can have the hashtags already added in there. You can save the hashtags that you have on there so they're easy to click onto your next post that you're wanting to make to schedule. Planoly is a super, super helpful app, I would say, for people if you don't have a lot of time. Where for me in the service industry, I usually don't because I am back to back, and I'm sure Casey can understand that. You're like, I'm just trying to rinse somebody's hair, and like I gotta post this on my Facebook. So it's nice to just have those schedules. What I like to do is once a week, I will go and I will schedule out my posts. If I'm feeling super productive, I'll try to schedule the whole month. And one thing that's super, super nice with an app like Planoly is they actually show off high activity points of the day. Because just because social media is there and you maybe have a whole lot of followers doesn't mean that they're all online at the same time. So Planoly actually will take your account and it will analyze it and figure out what points of the day are best for posting. So for me, on a Friday, it might say, oh, this Friday you should post, if you're gonna post 3 posts a day, at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. Okay, but then the next day it might say for a Saturday, you need to post at 9 a.m., 7 p.m., and 10 p.m. because that's when your followers are the most active. So even though it might not make so much sense to you, they have that data because they, like I said, they analyze based off of your specific situation, which is super helpful. And it has that for that entire month. So it already has that planned out, which I think is very helpful. Any questions on that Planoly app? If you don't have it, seriously, I would suggest it. It is free. If you want to, though, you can upgrade. And with that, you're able to add multiple accounts. So if you have multiple businesses, let's say, you're able to have both of them on there. You're also able to have multiple people running it if you decide to pay. So if you have a larger team and you want to have like different people running it, you can do that. And you can also schedule more posts out in advance if you do for that. Yes.
What is the benefit?
So I would say that, but also here's a fun thing with the algorithm. So you might have noticed that if you post onto Facebook, you can have it automatically sent to Instagram. If you post on Instagram, you can have it automatically sent to your Facebook. For some reason, with the algorithm, they don't necessarily take that as a new post, and they kind of view it differently. So when you do it like this, it's actually, even though it's one post, posting 2 posts instead of posting 1 and then sharing it, because they treat it like you're sharing it in that way. And typically they don't show that out to as many people. So you might notice like on your Instagram, if you have a similar following on Instagram as your Facebook, that you might be getting a higher engagement rate on your Instagram on the exact same post than you do on Facebook if you're sharing it from Instagram to Facebook, because it's treating it like a share. It's not treating it like it's its own individual post. So I find that to be super helpful. Also, something I didn't mention with Planoly is they do have this feature that you can go in and you can say, let's say for makeup artistry, I'm going to type in makeup artist in the hashtags. It'll show me what the best options for hashtags are at that time, what's trending, what the viewpoints are on those. So you're able to use that kind of as you want. And I'll talk about hashtags in a little bit too, but it is just a more data-based thing, I find, but also it just tends to lead to better engagement also. This one is for sure something that you guys could talk about, which is going live, which OMG, going live, super scary. I know it's super scary. I did going live back when it was like barely even cool. I did it just because I was like, you know what? And I didn't even do it on my business page. I would just be like, you know what? They have this live feature. I'm just gonna go on here and talk to my family. Don't know why I did that at all. Sorry, Mom. Sorry. But going live is super, super, super important nowadays because things like these online boutiques are really taking off, and it's a great way to have more eyes on you. But for businesses that sell a product, it's super easy. Always like that. It's super easy to integrate your e-commerce into that, like your sales into that. So there is a site that is called Comment Sold. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that one. But what that does is it actually allows you to kind of take away, not fully the stress of everything, because sometimes things go wrong. I mean, it's technology, but it kind of helps things run more smoothly. So instead of saying, this is this product and it's number 1, and this is this product and it's number 2, and you have people going, oh wait, can you show number 1 again? And okay, I'll show number 1 again, but now we're going back to number 3 and all these things, and you're having people commenting and you're trying to make sure who commented it first and try to grab it so that you can write it down real quick and not have to worry about it. Comment Sold makes it a little easier, where people just are able to comment sold. Literally, they comment sold, the number that the thing is, and it automatically makes it so that they are sent an invoice for that, where they can pay it, and then they take care of getting, you can set it up to make it so that they will have a pre-made shipping label and things like that. So it takes a lot of the back end out, which is super, super helpful. But also going live for a business that sells a service, like if you do food, if you're a beauty service, if you're a florist, something, you can show off your skills, because people like to see the behind the scenes. People think it's super cool, because I don't know, I know for myself, if I'm looking at like a Wasso Floral, let's say, I'll be like, you know what, I wonder how they make their bouquets. I don't know. How do you make them? I don't know. Do you just stick it all together? So I would find it super interesting, and I have found it super interesting when they have gone live and they've done things like that to show off their services. But it's a great way to allow your customers to interact with you and ask you questions, and it can lead to more sales, because sometimes if people have like a fear of something, let's say, like for me, I have a lot of food allergies. So if, let's say, Nom Nom Sweeties went live, I could be like, hey, do you have any like gluten-free stuff? She could be like, oh my gosh, let me show you all these things I do. And that's gonna make me feel heard, for one, as a customer, and 2, that's gonna make me feel more obligated to actually follow through with the buying process, rather than if it's just a comment where I'm like, do you guys make gluten-free stuff? And she goes, yep. I'll be like, cool, I know that now. but have face-to-face, not necessarily that you're even the other side of a face, but it feels more humanized in that way, I find, going live. So with myself, I used to go live and just do makeup tutorials, and I wouldn't really even be necessarily trying to sell anything. I would just be like, you know what, let's hang out, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do an everyday makeup look. As soon as I would get off, everybody that I had talked to would be like, okay, so but like, what was that mascara? Because like, I really need to know. And I'd be like, okay, well, let me tell you. And it would generate sales, but it wouldn't be so pushy, if that makes sense. So I love going live, which is super, super weird because I was not that person to be like, let me just like this even. I'm like, hi, you should have seen me in high school. I would have been like, yeah, so the war of 1912. But once you get more comfortable with it, it does become super easy. And one nice thing with it too is you don't have all of the eyes looking at you, and you don't have like the nervousness, I guess, in that way, because you're really just talking. You can kind of hang out. And it's nice also if you have somebody there with you, kind of break that tension, I find. So even, let's say if I was a Owasso Floral and I wanted to show off how to make this, how we do our bouquets, maybe I'll have somebody standing there actually holding it while I'm doing it, but they can kind of help break that uncomfortable feeling. But something that's super cool is TikTok actually offers live as well as Instagram and Facebook. But what's different is TikTok actually will give you the ability to be given gifts, which is super cool, which I'll elaborate on that. So the only sad part about the TikTok live feature is you do have to have at least 1,000 followers to access that. But I will say, getting 1,000 followers isn't super hard if you're active on the app. If you're interacting with the other people on the app, people like you, they'll follow you. And a lot of people will follow people and then forget that they followed them anyway. So it's easy, I would say, to get up to that 1,000. But once you get there, when you go live, let's say showing off your new clothing line that came in, we want to show you. You're actually able to have your viewers give you gifts in the sense of like money. So they can choose to send you a rose emoji, and that costs them 30 cents, you're gonna get 10 cents of that. They can choose to send you these other different emojis, and the reason that they want to do that is because they want to be noticed. They want you to be like, oh, thank you, Laura Ann, so much for the rose. I really appreciate that. And it's kind of nice because you're able to not really be doing it for free. You know what I mean? You're not wasting your time where you're just sitting on there talking about something that you're not getting anything back from. That doesn't mean every time you go live, somebody's gonna give you money, and you're not really being like, hey guys, do you wanna like send me a rose? That's kind of cool. But I have people when I'm doing lives, I actually did one right before I came here, just doing my makeup, just talking, and I had about $1.50 to me, which is like not, you know, a lot, but I also was only on live for like 10 minutes. So it's kind of interesting how TikTok does that, and it's a way for you to kind of self-fund, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but it's a cool feature that they have that I think is really unique, but it also kind of brings that back to the customer relationship as well, because if you have a good customer relationship, they're going to be feeling more obligated, like, oh, I love this person, let me send them a rose, you know, things like that. One sad thing about the TikTok live is you cannot integrate, as far as I am aware, comments sold, which is the website we were talking about earlier. They are in the process of updating their live features. I know this because they sent me a survey, and it's, I think I'm allowed to talk about it. If not, you guys didn't hear me, and you didn't either on the recording. But as far as I'm aware, it's something that they're working on. But one last thing on the TikTok lives is it tends to bring a lot of followers when you go live. I don't know what it is, but the people just scrolling by, it's super easy for them to just click follow, and now they're following you, and they'll just scroll right by. So I found that to be great. Every time I go live, I gain at least, I would say, between 400 and 600 followers every time that I'm going live, just because they're able to click so easily. Now, in the beginning, I would maybe only gain like 10 to 20 followers. But still, when you're first starting out and you're not really even trying to advertise yourself, you're just sitting on there, it's nice to get those extra 20 followers. So I really like the TikTok live feature for those people. Any questions?
What about like community events, things like that?
Yes, so you actually can, like, let's say you wanted to have a event at the Lebowski Center, and we're going to be showing off this new play, and we're going to give you on TikTok this exclusive access to this 2 of the songs or something that are going to be in this play. So we could schedule this live event, and you can actually have it so that you can link a charity or link an organization where people can, when they're clicking those roses or whatever they're sending to you, that's going towards that charity, but also they can click on the link individually to then donate. But that actually happens a lot on TikTok, are those charity events and the lives in that way. And with that, they tend to advertise them for you. So like, what is it, the aquarium, one of the sea aquariums in like Toronto or something, I get ads for them all the time, like, join us live for doing this. And what are they doing? They're like walking their penguins or something through the aquarium, but they have it linked to where you can donate to them. And they do make a decent amount. I mean, I'm not seeing the full numbers, but when I'm sitting on there, it's just like rose. So that's another great way if you want to help an organization in that way, is to do those lives. But scheduling them is very important because it kind of gives like a countdown. It gets people excited, and it'll boost it a little bit more on TikTok. Yes.
You have to worry about copyrights, trademarks. If you're doing a video, do you have to worry if you have a name brand in there or a song in there?
No, so that's one thing that is nice. Facebook, when you go live, if you have like music on in the background, sometimes they'll be like, hey, can't do that. No. But TikTok, they don't care. You can have it in the background. You can have like name brand things in the videos and things like that. As far as I'm aware, I've not seen that causes an issue like it does on like Facebook. There's one other thing that I was thinking about that I just went, I don't know, maybe it'll come back to me. But as far as I know, no. Oh, and then also in like just videos in general, they have their pre-made sounds that you can choose from, which most songs are on that. But if you have a video, like I have uploaded a video once where I had added music to it, it was taken down for copyright, but I was able to find it on the app. It's just that they maybe have like 15 seconds of it instead of 18 seconds of it like I had. But for the most part, no. Then as far as you're gonna see this little thing going on down here, I'll talk about that. But using, like I said, the stories feature is super helpful. One thing that I really like to do, and not a lot of people do this, I don't think, is using the hashtags on your Instagram story, because that will actually boost your story in the explore part of Instagram, where you can like just be hanging out, exploring through all the different hashtags and things. But you want to use relevant hashtags to whatever you're talking about. So in this case, in this video, I'm showing makeup t-shirt. That is one of my merch things. So I'm hashtagging makeup artist looks, love this look, things like that. And then I'm also adding my location to it, which brings us back to when we were talking about making sure that who is viewing your things are people in your area. On Instagram, it's a little easier to do that because you're able to add your location, and that's going to kind of show up a little bit more frequently in the people that are in that area. And so what I do, because not a lot of people want to do the hashtags because it's kind of cheesy looking to have hashtags in your story. So what you can do is you can actually shrink them down super, super small. And then you would go to the stickers tab and find a sticker that's kind of relevant to what you're talking about. So for me, it's just she slays, whatever. And I use that to cover that up so that my followers aren't necessarily seeing that I'm putting that there. Makes it look a little nicer, but I'm also getting more out of that post. And then also making them more entertaining by adding music. That's a feature that Instagram has now, is you can add music to stories. Yes.
For hashtagging your location, are you narrowing it down to like Owasso, Michigan, just Michigan?
Yeah.
What are you?
So for myself, normally I'm using just Michigan. For this video, I did use Owasso, Michigan, but you can get as specific as you want to.
So like say you want to make me like really focus for Florida, for example, just put hashtag Florida, and then that could possibly generate for a whole different.
Correct. You can actually tag your location also as Florida and put it in there, and that shows up in a different category on that Explore page.
You're doing that all new views for
Correct.
people that are out of the state.
Correct. So then you would just shrink it down, and people won't necessarily think that you're on that because you are from Florida, because it's not going to show that you're posting your location as Florida, because it's going to be hidden by that sticker. So it's kind of like a sneaky way to fit in these other things. So then doing that, but then also adding, like I said, music. People really like when you have music. They do have it where you can have the captions and the words going with it. I personally don't like to do that. I'll just take the image, shrink it down, hide it behind the sticker as well. And then something to make them more engaging, your posts, is to add either the polls, the questions, or the quiz. So for this, I'll kind of play that again. For this one, I ended up going with a poll. And what that is going to be is just me saying, like, are you a makeup lover? And people just hit yes or no. But what that does is it tells Instagram, hey, you know what? People like her stuff. They're interacting with it. Let's show them that a little bit more. And it kind of boosts your overall engagement rate just by doing the stories, which is super cool. So it's coming up in just a second. And you can do polls, you can do questions. So if you want to say like, hey, what's your favorite fall-time drink? And just like even simple things like that. You'll notice if you go on to other brands' Instagram stories, a lot of the time, they're not even necessarily talking about their brand at all. They might just be saying, do you like black outfits or white outfits? Do you like color outfits or this outfits? Do you like more natural makeup or more dramatic makeup? It's not necessarily even geared towards that. It's just focusing on getting that engagement up, which is super cool. And like I said before, having those stories aren't as cluttery on your Instagram too. So you're boosting your engagement without really flooding everybody's feed, which a lot of people will appreciate. But if you're not sure how to lay out a story, because some people can be a little intimidated, like, I want it to look good, I don't want it to just be like a picture or something. You can use an app called Canva, which, funnily enough, is actually what I made this whole presentation on, is Canva. They have templates for everything, from presentations to Instagram posts to Instagram stories to brochures, everything. They're almost kind of like, what is that called? Vistaprint in that way, but make it digital and make it free. You can have access to the more fun images and things on Canva if you want to pay a little bit, but I would say, honestly, don't. I wouldn't say to pay for it. Using the free is like totally fine.
Right.
And then building a stronger Instagram following. Instagram's algorithm, like I said, likes to push your page more the more you and your followers interact. So this is a little different to Facebook, where Facebook really cares about how much your followers are liking and commenting. Instagram loves when you have a more deep relationship with your followers. So I have this little 5-minute rule that I like to say. So if I'm really trying to work on building my engagement, I will try to do one of these things for 5 minutes a day. So the first one would be to comment back to every single comment that is under your most recent post, let's say, with a meaningful response. You don't want it to just be like sparkly heart emoji and that's it. Having a more meaningful response, Instagram takes that as you having a deeper conversation with that person, and it's like, hey, you know what? Let's boost their stuff more because they interact with their followers. The second thing that you could do is to actually go to your followers' pages and like and or comment under one of their posts, because that shows that you're going out of your way to try and build these interactions and relationships with your followers. Plus, it kind of makes your followers feel good. You know, especially if they're following you, they probably like you. So having you comment back is kind of a cool thing. I even like it, like if I post something and the city of Owasso, let's say, comments, hey, nice post. I'm like, thank you, I appreciate it. So people tend to like when you do that, but also it's helping you improve your engagement rate. The last thing is to search and save hashtags that are relevant to your brand, and then like and comment meaningful responses under those posts. So kind of going out of your way even a little bit in that way. So like for me, let's say I really want to get people that are interested in facials to be looking at my stuff more. So I'm going to search facials in the hashtags on the Explore page, and I'm going to look for a video that has a good response to it, and then I'm going to start looking at the comments under that and see if there's anything that I can respond to that I can do more than just a sparkly heart. Like if people are like, oh, what's a good charcoal face soap? You're like, oh my gosh, I have tried this and I love it. And that kind of helps build that engagement, and then they'll go to your page, follow you, things like that. So just a 5-minute a day rule can really make a big difference. Yes.
Would that be the same for Facebook too then?
So with Facebook, they're not so into you interacting with people, so you can do it certainly. I would say for sure doing the commenting back with meaningful responses, but as far as like going to people's pages and stuff like that, I don't think that it would really have that much of an impact unless you are wanting to go out of your way as a brand or as a company to be a little bit more interactive with your people. But in the sense of like actually growing things, I wouldn't say so. With Instagram, like we talked about earlier, creating aesthetically pleasing posts is like super important because that's kind of what the app is. So using apps like Canva, which I talked about, they have pre-made templates that make things super easy. Honestly, to take good pictures, you just need a phone. If you have an iPhone, using it on portrait mode is super easy. It gives you a clearer picture, makes things look nicer. Having good lighting is super important. Using a flattering background, like a white background to show off your image, to make it pop a little bit more. And then adjusting your lighting in your editing feature of your Photos app, or using an app like Facetune if you want to kind of like smooth things out at all. Hey, that's me. So now we're going to talk about TikTok tips, which you guys probably like. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So as I was making this, I was at 560,000 followers, and I'm up to 566. So I did this specific thing 3 days ago. Yeah. Top 3 things I'm going to talk about are keeping on trend, finding your niche, and being a trend setter. So the first one, I will say, if anybody's following along on your phones, make sure, I said it earlier, but if you came in afterwards, make sure your volume is down, because there's gonna be a clip coming up that has audio to it, and it might be a little embarrassing if it's like, so, onto that. So we're gonna stop these for a second. So things that TikTok loves as far as keeping on trend is trends themselves. They love dancing, they love funny filters, funny audios, honestly, anything that's kind of more humorous, upbeat, TikTok is about it. But what's most important is to strike while the iron is hot with these things, because let's say something is really trending and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna have my friend film me in 2 weeks doing that, and I'm gonna post that then. People are gonna be like, ooh, this is really cringy, you missed this whole thing, and it's kind of outdated feeling, and it might actually get you a negative response. Even though you're following along with the trend and you're trying to do the thing, people can be like, you kind of missed the bandwagon here. So striking while the iron is hot is super important. When you're posting a video, using audios that are listed as trending. So you'll find when you go to click the sounds to pick an audio to go with it, TikTok has what's called their viral sounds. Always, always, always use one of those sounds, even if you put the sound at like 2 where you can barely hear it at all, because those ones are going to be getting you the most views. I found that myself. If I just use a whatever sound, my views are like, but if I use one that's trending, it tends to do a whole lot better. And then kind of, if you're somebody like me where you do similar content back to back to back, where I'm doing like story time, sticking with a similar song even is kind of great, because then you can become higher up in those songs. So TikTok has it where if you click a song, it'll show you other people's videos. So you could even be one of those top videos. Same with their filters, which are also super important. Using a trending filter, one that you see people using a lot, is really important. I myself am in the top 20 or something for one of the filters if you click on it, which is kind of creepy, but I mean, it's cool. So using those things are super important. Always using whatever the daily trending hashtag is super important, even if it doesn't make any sense at all to what you're talking about, is super important, because those ones only last for that one day and it's gonna be like, done. So they try to really push those ones out because that's the one they've deemed as trending. Always using at least one hashtag that's relevant to your business. So for me, I would just use like makeup artist or something, but something that's relevant and something that a lot of people don't realize is as important as it is to add captions to your videos, because there is a huge amount of people that are deaf and hard of hearing that are missing out on your content if you are not adding those captions. And TikTok has added their auto-generating caption feature. So if you don't want to type them all out, which that was never fun to do when you're telling a 3-minute story, is type out all the words that you just said. So that's super helpful, but you can also use that text feature in the editing if you want to. So I have 2 examples of keeping on trend videos to show you. So the first one is going to be using transitions, which is another thing that's kind of trendy. It's to do these fun transitions where you're one thing and then you're switched to another thing. People just think it's super, super cool. And the cleaner the transition is, the less obvious it is, I should say, the more people really seem to like it. So this is going to be the one on this side. And she's also using an audio that is trending. So what she does is she throws up her dress, and then the next clip, oh, she's in the dress. And that's actually a bridal shop that's showing that off. Not necessarily even being like, hey, look at our wedding dresses, you should totally buy them. It's just like, oh, this cool transition, and then people maybe be like, oh, that's a really pretty dress, I think I might want to look at that, or maybe I'll start looking at your other videos to see if you do other cool transitions, things like that. So that's a good example of staying on trend. The next one, kind of a weird one, honestly, but it's the topic of using the funny audios. If you're not on TikTok, this is really not going to make any sense to you, but this is a trending audio at the moment. But this is somebody who is decorating a cake using one of these trending audios. And there's your cake. So she's not talking at all. She's not having to really do much of anything other than just film herself doing this cake decorating. But because she used a more viral sound, I went to her profile. That specific TikTok actually did way better than her other TikToks, and it was falling in that like viral category. So it's super important to use those audios while they're trending, even if it's just finding an audio while you're scrolling that, wow, this person's got like a ton of views on this, and then you just start hearing it more throughout the app, using that rather than going and searching for just like a song, if that makes sense. Because this one is actually, the origin of that is like a Barbie movie or something like that, where they're talking about fixing somebody's hair. I don't know, but it went viral, and now everybody uses that.
So when you're putting a post together, do you look for trending things and build your content around that trending stuff, or do you have your post and then you try to find something that fits?
Most of the time, I try to build around it. So I will spend maybe like, if I'm like, okay, I really want to get a post up today that's not just like a story time. I want to do something that's maybe a little bit different. I will scroll for a little while, see what the trending thing is, because the audio seems to change daily what that little thing is. And then let's say it's something that's like a transition or something. Okay, I'm a makeup artist, so I'm going to use this audio that people are using to show off transition into their full makeup to do mine. And striking while the iron's hot tends to work really well, and I do tend to get more views that way. So I don't necessarily have it pre-made in that sense when I'm trying to stay on trend with things. Finding your niche. So this is a similar thing to Instagram, where you kind of try and figure out where you kind of fit in by using the hashtags. So looking at the hashtags and seeing what people in your niche of that hashtag are using. So let's say for me, I'm going to click the makeup artist hashtag. It's going to obviously show me a bunch of makeup artist people. Well, what other hashtags are they using? Is there any one that I'm noticing that they're using a lot more than the other one? I might add that to my hashtags in my captions. But also, you're going to find similar content to yours, and so you can kind of see how people similar to you are recreating these trends. And it takes a lot of the brain work out of it, because it is hard to come up with something trendy, I'm not going to lie. So kind of building off of other people. The only thing is, though, if it's something one person themselves has done, you always want to make sure to tag them, because people get really mad if you don't do it. And it's also just not really cool to just steal somebody else's idea. But it is a good way to kind of take the guessing game out of building your content, is to kind of find what other people in your specific niche are doing. Even if it's like you're a charity, let's say, you can see, well, what are they doing? Are they talking just about their charities, or are they doing like fun little videos that are just like transitions or something? See what's working for them and work it into what you're doing. Also, going to those videos of people's that are like yours and doing a similar thing like you were on Instagram, liking and commenting under those things. People are more likely to come to your page and follow you in that way. And then when a video of yours goes bigger, take it as maybe you're starting a trend, and try to do those things more often instead of just doing something way out of left field that doesn't really make sense for what your newfound niche maybe is. That doesn't mean don't switch it up, but for me, I found like my story times do the best, because I know that's what people like. I do those the most. And then being a trendsetter, like I said, TikTok really likes trends. So if the best way to get a trend starting is ones where people can easily interact with you. So for example, if you're a cleaning business, you could start a video by saying, I want to see your favorite cleaning hack. I'll go first. And then you show your hack or whatever, and then you can go, all right, duet this video and show me your favorite cleaning hack. So what that does is if people are duetting it, your video is attached along with that. So all of their followers are now seeing your video too. There's another feature that's called Stitch, where people can take a portion of your video and then the rest of it is for them. But no matter what, you're always associated with it. You're always tagged with it in some sort of way. So it gives you an opportunity to be seen by their followers, and in return, you might gain some followers just because of that. Another weird thing that went kind of viral for me, I told this weird ghost story one time, and I said, I want to hear your paranormal stories. I'll go first. Told a story time. I think that there's like 20,000 people that made a response video to that. Apparently there's ghosts out there if you didn't know, but it was really interesting, and that's something that to this day is still happening, because just because you posted it forever ago, TikTok will share stuff at any time to people. So just today I had somebody make a response video to that video I posted almost a year ago now. Yes. Yes, because it's almost similar to that like Instagram thing where if you have a follower or something and you go to interact, you're like, oh my gosh, people just love being recognized and appreciated, or even just like, if you have a bigger following than theirs, apparently it's super cool to them that you said hi or something like that. But yes, I do try to interact in some sort of way, yes. Now, getting the most out of social media, we're almost done. I'm sorry, I talk a lot. So making sure that your social media is set to a business account is super important. A lot of people maybe don't realize that that's even a thing on all platforms. So on Facebook, if you have a business page, you're able to go into it and kind of toggle which one you want it to be towards. So for me, I have it for the services, because I do makeup services and things like that, but they also have like restaurants, so they'll give you the ability to post your menu and things like that. So it's super important to make sure that your pages are set up for the correct thing. And that's just under the settings feature of your business page on Facebook. On Instagram, if you go under your settings, there is an option you can see way down here if you're like supervision, like I'm not. It says switch account type. So for me, on my personal account, which I have linked to my TikTok, I have it set to a professional or a creator account, which gives me the ability to see the analytics of everything. So I can see where my followers are coming from, when they're most active, things like that. Which I would not have had if I just had it set to a normal account. But they do also have the ability to set it to a business account where you can link your website, things like that, to make it a little bit easier and make more sense for what you are. And same with TikTok. TikTok options are to have a creator account or a personal account or a business account. Right now I'm on a creator account so that I can be part of the creator fund, we're going to talk about in a second, which is a super, super cool thing. But it gives you, again, the ability to do different things. So as a creator, I'm able to, if I want, link my website. I'm able to see my analytics. I'm able to be a part of the creator fund if I want to be. I get tools and tips and tricks in the mail all the time in Gmail from TikTok for being a creator. It just kind of helps you out. But as a business, you're able to, again, see your analytics and things like that, but you're also able to link your site and just have a little bit more customability of how your TikTok runs. And then the potential for self-funding when it comes to social media is super, super cool. So the one that's really out there right now is the TikTok Creator Fund. If you have TikTok, you might have heard some people talking about that before. But what that is when you hit 10,000 followers, you can apply to TikTok's Creator Fund. And what they actually do is they pay out based off of your views and your engagements and things like that on your videos. So you could be getting, let's say, $1 for a video, or you can be getting like $500 for a video, depending on how much you're receiving as engagement in the sense of like likes and shares and things like that. Personally, and I'll share this with you guys because like you're my friends now. Oh my gosh. So personally, I usually make anywhere between, if I am posting videos regularly, between like $50 and $200 a day, just from TikTok videos. But if I have a video go viral, it can even have more than that. And that gives you the ability to have self-funding, where you can put that back into the marketing that you're doing on those platforms. And Facebook has recently announced that Instagram and Facebook are going to be following in that type of mindset starting in 2022, where you're going to be able to have that ability to have the potential of self-funding based off of engagement and things like that on your page, which is super cool. Any questions about that? Because I know that's kind of a weird concept, is I post a video and I get paid for it.
Is Facebook and Instagram just going to be videos too, or posts?
They haven't announced that yet. I would assume, but all they've said is they're to follow suit in that mindset for their creators, because they want people to be more active. Facebook does have that feature called the watch feature now, which is similar to almost the bridge between YouTube and TikTok, I would say, because it allows you to have those longer videos, but some people just use them for the short ones. So maybe that's what they're going to be integrating that into, I would imagine, because there's a lot of creators that are now on that. Like there's a hairstylist called Brad Mondo that he just talks about hair stuff on that. He has a huge following. There's a makeup artist, Bailey Syrian. She talks about murder, actually, and while she's doing her makeup, like different murder cases and stuff. She is super awesome. See, there's people that already know about these people. So I'm assuming that that's what they're going to kind of try to. But I do love that option is there as far as TikTok to have that self-funding, because like for myself, I'm able to do like giveaways for my followers and have the funding already there. So I'm not really spending anything out of my pocket. This is just extra stuff TikTok has given me that I can then put back and do these giveaways where I'm gaining a decent amount of followers because people want to win. This is a big one. Influencers. I guess you would maybe consider me one. I don't know. But using influencers for your social media is super popular right now and super effective if you do it correctly. So partnering or collaborating with influencers gives you the chance to build a quicker following of those that are willing to actually buy. Because if they see your stuff on an influencer's post, they're most likely following you because they're interested in your product. So it could be as simple as sending a product to somebody with maybe like a discount code for them to have their followers use, or it could be as elaborate as inviting them to your business to share their experience. So let's say you're a manufacturing company, you can have them come and almost like have that show how it's made, have them come and like share their experience and film it and just talking about that, and you would just pay them for their time. Because it does take a lot of time to make these videos sometimes. It can. But tips for working with influencers is always you want to make sure that you find somebody that has obviously a following that is positive, but also matches your brand image. So for me, I had this actually company reach out to me. They make necklaces that you scan this and it actually will pull up images that you have put on there, and you can put captions on there and stuff to make it really cute and personalized. It's a really cute thing. Fits in with me, I would say. It's in the beauty realm. It wouldn't really make sense for them to try and reach out to that foot doctor, you know? Maybe not. So finding somebody that fits in with your image is super important, but also the part of making sure that they have a positive following. I'm sure you guys have heard about cancel culture that is out right now. So maybe collaborating with somebody that is known to be worked up in the drama wouldn't be the best idea, in my opinion. But also, the next thing is having a signed agreement that clearly lists what's expected and what you're offering. You might not think that that's super important. You're like, hey, I'm just going to be sending this person this necklace. Like, they're going to make a video, they said so. So often does it happen where people are so caught up in the fact that they're influencers now that they won't make a video. They'll just get the free stuff and be like, cool, I got the free stuff, and not do anything. So having that agreement in place is super, super important. And to start is actually something you might maybe not think of, is to use what's called a micro-influencer. And what that means is somebody who's not necessarily got the millions and millions of followers, but maybe has like anywhere between 10,000 and 20,000 followers to start. Reason being, you would think that people with millions and millions of followers have a really high engagement rate, especially on TikTok. That is not the case at all. So for myself, I'm not in that micro-influencer, but I'm also not up to the highest part right now, I would say. But my engagement rate has dropped a little bit as I've gotten bigger. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not dropped like a ton, but it is super common for, I don't know if any of you do watch TikTok, but there's a dancer, girl, I guess you can call her a dancer, I don't know, Dixie D'Amelio and Charlie D'Amelio. They're the most followed people. If you look at their actual engagement rates, they're shockingly low for what their following is. So working with a micro-influencer is actually a great way to start because their engagement rate is going to be a lot higher because they're kind of still in that humanized range where they're still interacting a lot with their people in their comments, things like that. So it's driving that engagement rate to be higher. But also you always want to ask somebody that you want to work with to see their analytics, their current analytics, because somebody like I could say, yeah, I get 13 million views a week and and say all these things that maybe were true once, but that's not necessarily that's what's happening now. Like for me, this week I did about 8 million views. So is that so cool? Yeah, but it's not the 13 that I was maybe going to tell somebody that I did. So having them screenshot their actual analytics and send that to you, super important so that you know what you're going to be getting out of their current activity. Any questions on that? Because I know influencers also is kind of a weird thing. Something that I had tried actually before with the DDA was to have an influencer come just to Owasso and have an experience. And we actually did do it. She is a local, but I mean, she moved away. Some of you might know her, Miranda. It's now Miranda Woodruff, but it was Miranda Ogle at one point. But she has a decent following on Facebook, and we had her and her husband come during the Glow Parade and do all these things and share their experience on Instagram and Facebook and make a YouTube video out of it and share this whole thing. And it was super, super cool because she was still considered a micro-influencer. So we did get a decent amount of engagement out of that, and she got a decent amount of engagement out of it too, as far as like new followers from that. So it can be done in a way that you're not just sending somebody a product or having them come to get a service done or something like that. Something can be done, like for, let's say, Noah's Ark as an example. You could find somebody that's maybe a mom that you want to have them come in with their child and spend the day just hanging out and have the kid do it from their point of view throughout the day. Like, look at all these cool activities I got to do, and it was so fun, and da-da-da-da-da. And that's going to be giving you a little bit more of a personalized, almost like I said before, with finding somebody that fits in your niche and your brand image, kind of response out of that too. You're going to find more moms that are maybe following that mom who are like, you know what, that was super cool, let's do that. Let's go to Noah's Ark. Yeah, any questions on that? We are so close to the finish line. I'm sorry I talk a lot. So overall takeaways, be as active as you can be, but not too active. I should have put that on there, but not posting every second of the day. Know your audience. So checking with those hashtags, seeing what your demographic is by looking at your analytics as they come in, by having your account switch to those business features, by switch to a business account, staying on trend within your niche, and being creative is super important. So I am going to open this up to any questions that you might have at all, anything even if we didn't really talk about it. Yes?
So you were mentioning Tock has the ability when you're seeking help.
Yes.
I've seen a lot of that.
It does have that, yes.
Okay, how do you do that?
So it's actually a after feature. You click in where the sticker tabs in the editing area is at. I think it looks like a little keyboard or something like that, and you just click on that and it adds it in there. Yes, I should have put that on there too. Always making sure that you're inclusive is super important. You might notice even when you're on Facebook and those watch videos like Bailey Syrian or their last name and Brad Mondo, they tend to have the words that they're saying on that. For Facebook, it's also because they want you to look at the videos, because some people have it where it won't automatically play the audio when you're scrolling over a video. So it's kind of to get people interested, but it's also for the deaf community and the hard of hearing, which I think that most people would agree it's important to be inclusive these days and in general. Any other questions at all? Yes.
So I've never made an actual TikTok video, but I do see that when you're making TikTok, are you just using like in-service features or do you use other apps?
Most of the time I'm using just the in-service ones. The only time I won't is if I'm trying to do like a super hard like transition that it's going to take a little bit more editing. In that case, I use an app that's called InShot, INSHOT, and that is a free app, and it just gives you a little bit more editing abilities and abilities within that app. All right, I will say if there's anybody here that, yes, sorry.
Actually, this is relevant to some of the businesses in the room. Too, the number one thing I deal with on a daily basis right now is companies trying to find people. And a lot of businesses struggle, how do they get their story out there about not finding a customer, but a worker? So do you have any thoughts on how companies can use social media to?
Absolutely. So using social media in that way, let's say it's TikTok, having it where you tell your worker story, maybe even where you're going into the workers that you do have and having them tell you, like, this is what I do at this job and I love it because of this, and this is what I do on the daily, and I've been doing this for this many years and I just absolutely love it. We feel like a family here, things like that. It kind of breaks down that, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like it there type of thing. Because usually if you have an employee that's willing to talk about it, they do actually like what they're doing. So I would say almost doing it in like a fun interview style, and then maybe following that worker throughout the day of what they do in your company might be a great way to kind of show off different things, especially if you're hiring in that certain area. Yes. Okay. I do. So you're gonna go up here, and you're gonna go all the way down on the right. Right? Yep. So you're gonna go all the way down straight.
Yep.
All the way down straight. Yep. And then you're gonna go to the right. All right, but I will say what I was going to say. So if any of you need help brainstorming, please do not hesitate to reach out. If you're like, hey, you know what, this is what we're really trying to do right now. I don't know what to do here. If you're just like stuck on an idea, or if you're thinking this is what we were trying to do, but we have no idea how to do it, feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help you guys in any way that I can. I'd like to say thank you for coming today. I appreciate it. Hopefully you learned something new. If you didn't, sorry, you just heard me talk for a little while. But feel free to reach out anytime, and I would love to help you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for coming.